I can't do the teaser exercise perfectly, yet I'm still a Pilates teacher. The typical worry that people have while researching Pilates teacher training programs is their ability to perform the most challenging Pilates exercises. Hi, my name is Beth and welcome to Trifecta Pilates. I've been teaching Pilates since 2004, and when you're looking into a teacher training program, get started with your goals. Are you looking into this for personal enrichment, or do you want to be a Pilates teacher, whether part-time or full-time? And know that your goals can change. For the first 7 years, I was primarily teaching in a Pilates studio, small group classes, and private sessions. So I taught on all of the equipment. Once 2012 hit, I wanted to bring Pilates out of the studio into more people. So since that time, I've been focusing on teaching mat Pilates, both in person and now 100% online. And the thing is, you won't always know where you end up when you get started as a Pilates teacher, but just get started with what are your goals right now. Being a Pilates teacher isn't about doing the rollover, kneeling side kick, or any advanced level exercise perfectly. What it is about is effectively teaching. And this includes learning about the exercises and offering different variations, using effective cues, and teaching an inspiring class so that people are encouraged to come back to Pilates. This really should be the emphasis of a Pilates teacher training program, more than just refining your personal practice. So the lessons covered, what you study, and your practice should include human anatomy and movement, the philosophy and history of the Pilates method, learning the exercises with a lot of alternatives, and understanding contraindications. Of course, teaching safe and effective exercises, understanding class structure, design, and teaching in different formats are all essential for a training program. As part of a well-rounded program, the Pilates Method Alliance also outlines the observation, self-practice with Pilates, and teacher training hours are essential to the overall learning experience. You don't need expertise in Pilates to enroll in a teacher training program, but you do need experience, and different programs have different requirements. It's my recommendation you have at least 6 to 12 months experience moving with Pilates so that you really get different styles of Pilates in your body. You're exploring during your time, and you get to just focus on you and the Pilates method before layering on how you're going to teach other people. There are 3 main types of Pilates teacher training programs. This includes mat, reformer, and comprehensive. In my opinion, reformer is probably the most limiting, and the reason why is the reformer is a large and expensive piece of equipment, meaning it's not going to be in all gyms. Many times you'll find this in boutique studios. Sometimes gyms will have a separate Pilates studio, because when you go to teach in a Pilates studio, if they have more than just the Pilates reformer, you're not going to be able to teach on those. And from my experience working both privately and with smaller group classes, it's really helpful when you have access to the reformer and Cadillac, the wounded chair, and all the amazing Pilates equipment that you can teach on those different pieces of equipment depending upon what that client or clients need. So if you're looking into the reformer training, I would suggest maybe seeing if that comprehensive training would be more well worth it. I know a lot of people who started the reformer training, completed it, and then they had to go on and complete their comprehensive training, which is just more time and more money. And in that comprehensive program, you're going to cover what you already learned in the reformer program. Now, comprehensive program includes everything from mat Pilates to all of the different apparatus that you'll find in a fully equipped Pilates studio. It's going to be more time and money for that comprehensive program compared to the reformer program, and also in comparison to the mat. Since I have been specializing in mat Pilates since 2012, mat Pilates is really versatile because you can teach this in a Pilates studio, but you can also teach it in gyms or community centers, even outdoors or online, because you aren't tied to using different pieces of larger equipment. We can add variety with how you teach mat Pilates with no equipment, or classes with small pieces of equipment. And these are either easier to bring, such as I have brought resistance bands to some classes that I've taught, and many gyms that I've worked in have had smaller pieces of equipment that we can use just Pilates style. all of this should be covered in an in-depth Pilates mat teacher training program. And one of the reasons why last fall we started the Trifecta Pilates mat teacher training. And that's because there's a lot of programs out there that are just quick fix, check the box, get your certificate of completion. And we really want to have some more standard guidelines in the Pilates community of what should be included in a Pilates teacher training program. And the PMA is outlining that for us. We reviewed that a little bit in the last segment, but they've also said that a Pilates mat teacher training program should be at minimum 100 hours, a reformer program at minimum 300 hours, and comprehensive program minimum 450 hours. So something to keep in mind, if you're looking into a program that doesn't meet those minimum recommendations, most likely when you leave, you're going to feel like you need more information. And just this year, I was at the Pilates Method Alliance conference and I sat next to someone who had recently completed a Pilates program, and immediately she wanted to take another foundational course. And I thought, oh, that is so much more time and money. So do your due diligence, go back to your goals. What are your goals? You want to be a comprehensive teacher, you want to focus it in on mat. Make sure the program you're enrolling in is going to offer all those different components covered in the last section. Traditionally, Pilates teacher training programs are taught in person, though now we're seeing more and more online options. And with many of the online options, it's very short amount of hours. There's not a live interactive component, but it's so vital because if you're just on your own learning about Pilates, you're not going to get the feedback that's really helpful to hone your skills, moving with the Pilates method, how you teach Pilates, and just being able to ask questions. So make sure that the program that you're looking into, whether it's 100% in person or they have online lessons like the Trifecta Pilates mat teacher training program, that there is also a component where you can talk with someone as you're going through the program. Something else you may see is classic or contemporary Pilates training programs. This was really prevalent back in the early 2000s. And there's some programs starting to get away from this because honestly, it's not really helpful. The program I took would be considered a contemporary Pilates program, but I've had a lot of people tell me that was such a great classic Pilates class. I'm so glad to find a classic Pilates teacher. I have no formal training in the classic methodology. That was not my original training. However, I've taken continuing education and self-study. People who identify with being classic Pilates teachers say that they adhere to the original work of Joseph Pilates in his original order and sequence. Now, I think it's really wonderful to know that, but there's many times when we're going to want to deviate from that, especially if you're a Pilates mat teacher. If you just stuck with the classic 34 exercises in that order, you're going to get burnt out really fast. And so are the people coming to your classes. Think about all the classes here available on Trifecta Pilates. If I just stuck to that classic 34, it would feel very repetitive. Contemporary teacher will often say that they take advantage of current research, have created new exercises. Sometimes the equipment is a little bit different as well, because we have so many advances since Joseph Pilates created the method. And side note here, Joseph Pilates didn't call it the Pilates method, he called it controlology. And where I think every single Pilates teacher training program should do is highlight what were Joseph Pilates' original exercises. At least review the order. Know that Joseph Pilates wrote 2 books, one of them Return to Life with the classic mat sequence. This is also helpful because then we can go, well, why might we want to create some new exercises? If you're a Pilates mat teacher, why we might want to create new exercises is because if we know that we can do side splits on the reformer and we want to add variety to the mat classes that you teach, well, we can do a variation of side splits either using gliding discs or a paper plate. And in this way, we're doing more vertical Pilates exercises when you teach, which is amazing, adding more variety, but we're still staying true to the Pilates method. I call these studio style Pilates exercises. And in the Trifecta Pilates mat teacher training program, there is a whole section on studio style exercises in which we review where was the exercise originally taught, and then how do we bring that to the mat. This isn't so that Pilates mat teachers are an expert or that they can even teach. on the equipment, but it's a way that we can acknowledge if we're doing an exercise that doesn't seem like it's a Pilates mat exercise, we can reference the original exercises. And in that way, we're really honoring Joseph Pilates' work. Now I saved the most nerve-wracking moment for last, and that's testing out. Any program is going to crescendo to this final evaluation piece. Written evaluation, movement evaluation, and also teaching evaluation. All three of these should be included because your goal is to be a Pilates teacher, not write about the Pilates method. So if you're looking into a course that only has a written test, that would be a big red flag. Another red flag would be if you have to do the fullest expression of an exercise in order to test out, that's ableist. It's also not honoring that you may need a different variation that's more suitable for your body, and it wouldn't be applying everything that you learned in the program so that you can teach proper variations. As an example, when I'm evaluating someone's movement evaluation, and they say, let's do the side bend exercise, and maybe they choose a kneeling option instead of the full side bend, I may ask, why did you choose that option and what is the original option? They don't have to show me, they just need to be able to tell me that. And in doing so, I can understand what was their thought process of moving with that variation, and also that they can link it back to the original exercise. Now, when we're evaluating someone's teaching evaluation, we're looking at overall class structure and program design, how they're teaching, the cues, that their opening movement sequence, the warm-up, links in some way to the bulk of their class, that they're cooling down their class as well. And this is all what is included when you not only learn about teaching arc and structure, but then you take the time to complete your hours of practice teaching. There's still nerves that go into it. I still remember testing out, and I tested out one of my exercises was boomerang, and I had butterflies in my stomach because the boomerang exercise has so many different exercises wrapped into one, but it wasn't about doing it perfectly. It was knowing what the exercise was and moving in a way that was authentic for me at the time, which back over 20 years ago is much different than how I move with boomerang at this point in time. Once you've successfully completed all the coursework, requirements, and testing out, you earn a certificate of completion, not to be confused with being certified to teach Pilates. So being certified to teach Pilates is overseen by the NPCP. Currently, right now, you can be certified to teach Pilates as a comprehensive Pilates teacher. That's what I have. A reformer Pilates teacher, and they're working on a test for a Pilates mat teacher. Why are they working on a test for a Pilates mat teacher? It's vital that we elevate mat Pilates because that's how we can bring Pilates to more people. But if we just rely on a quick certificate of completion, it's not going to give people the knowledge and comprehensive understanding of what the Pilates method is. Because there's more to it than just the 100th exercise or roll up. There's a methodology behind it. And that's what any training program, whether it's mat, reformer, or comprehensive, should really dive into. We covered a lot. Let me know if you have any questions. If you want to see more videos like this, give this video a thumbs up. For right now, I'm going to hop off this box so that I can teach my private client virtually, of course, and also film some new classes for YouTube and the membership. Trifecta Pilates. I don't want to say embarking, like, it's not a college course.